Welcome to Serious English, my dear friends. My name is Antonia Ramaker, and today we are going to talk about conditional sentences. As you already probably know, there are several types. There is 1, 2, 3, and actually 0. And there are mixed conditional sentences too. Today we'll talk about the first, the second, and the third conditional in more details. I'll also mention zero conditional and mixed conditional, but very briefly. So let's get cracking and start with the first type. The first conditional. Here we deal with a real situation in present or in future. For example, if you don't study idioms and phrasal verbs, you won't sound like a native speaker. So this is more or less a general statement. If something happens, there will be a result, a certain result, the result. So, it is a real situation. Everything is quite easy. What structure do we use here? In the if clause, over here, we use present simple or present continuous. So, we state something. And in the relative clause, we use future simple or present continuous in the meaning of future, because we say the result, what will happen. Once again, let's take a look. If you don't study, this is present simple. You won't sound. You will not sound. This is future simple. If you don't study idioms and phrasal verbs, you won't sound like a native speaker. So please do study them. Let's take a look at 3 more examples from a TV show. 3 examples as promised. All of them are from How I Met Your Mother TV show. The first 2 are from the 14th episode of the first season, and the second is from the 13th episode of the first season. Let's take a closer look. Baby, there's something I have to do, and if I do it in front of you, it'll change the entire nature of our relationship. Here, if I do it, we have present simple, it will change, future simple. If we go out there and spoil the mood, it's not gonna happen. Once again, here we have, if we go out, present simple, it's not gonna happen. And here we have the construction to be going to, so it is present continuous in the meaning of future. And once again, we are dealing with a real situation in present or future. And the last example, and if I walk in there, I'm robbing both of us of this wonderful moment, of this wonderful memory. Well, actually, Ted didn't finish his sentence. He was interrupted by Barney. He was getting impatient. But the structure works, still works. If I walk in there, present simple, a simple condition, and the result, I'm robbing both of us. The same as I'm going to rob or I will rob. So the result in future. And in this case, once again, we use present continuous in the meaning of future. The second type of conditional sentences presupposes an unreal situation in present or future. So here it is not true. We are just imagining things. If I had a plane, I would go to France right now. But I don't have a plane. I am just imagining. If I had a plane, I would go to London right now. To New York. In the if clause, we use past simple, and in the relative clause, we use would plus the infinitive, plus the verb itself. And here, as you can see, I wrote could. So instead of would, we can also sometimes use could, but would is of course much more common. Let's return to the example. If I had a plane, I had, that is past simple, I would go. So we have would and the infinitive the verb in its initial form, go. And we have an unreal situation in present or future. We are imagining things in present or future. 2 examples, once again from How I Met Your Mother TV show, the 13th episode and the 10th. If you have an opportunity to watch these episodes and hear those examples, analyze them, please do. It would do you good. It would be extremely helpful. This is the conversation between Ted and Victoria, a couple who has just met. Ted says, "It's too bad you're not gonna get some tonight." He means sex. And she answers, "Oh, if I wanted some, I could get some." Let's take a look at the structure. If I wanted, in the if clause we have past simple. I could get, could plus the infinitive. What I have mentioned before, we can use could here. The second example, we are just friends. Look, it would not be smart if we got together. It was said by Ted about him and Robin, if I'm not mistaken. And he thinks that it would not be smart if they got together. He imagines if they got together in present or in future, it would not be smart. It would not be a good idea. He's imagining. It's an unreal situation. Well, it can happen, but it is not true right now, at the moment of speaking. And the third type of conditional sentences is used also with an unreal situation, but in this case, in the past. Not in present or future, but in the past. So it happened already. You can't change anything about it. It's done. If I had had an opportunity to help you, I would have done it. For example, let's say yesterday, if I had had an opportunity to help you, I would have done it. So yesterday, I didn't have an opportunity to help you, and I didn't help you. Sorry. It's in the past, an unreal situation. We are imagining things in the past. In the if clause, we use past perfect. The auxiliary verb had plus the verb with the ending ed, or the third form of an irregular verb. And in the relative clause, we have would plus have plus the main verb with the ending ed, or the third form of an irregular verb. So here we have would plus a perfect infinitive. Would have done. Done is the third form of the irregular verb do. The first example is from How I Met Your Mother TV show, the 12th episode of the first season. Ted told one of his friends who was about to get married, the bride, that he had checked +1 and he wanted to bring a date. But the bride said, if you had checked +1, I would have called you to get the name of your guest so I could have the place cards printed out. So she's talking about the past, the situation. She says that he didn't check +1 because if he had checked, she would have called him, and she didn't. So it is in a real situation in the past. Notice the structure. In the if clause we have past perfect, and in the relative clause we have would have called. Would plus the perfect infinitive, have called. And one more example connected with, well, marriage, weddings. If he had asked her to marry him, she would have said yes. So once again here we are talking about the past. The condition in the past, if he had asked her, and the result in the past, she would have said yes. The problem is that he didn't ask her, so she didn't say yes. Okay, that's it. about three types: the first, the second, and the third. And as I have promised, very briefly about zero conditionals and mixed conditionals. So, as for zero conditionals, here we deal with general facts, usually scientific facts. For example, if you warm ice, it melts. Present simple, present simple. And as for mixed conditionals, they are a little bit more complicated. Usually here we combine the third type with the second type, or the second type with the third type. The first case is much more common. Let's take a look at an example. If he'd gone to university, he might have a better job. The condition is in the past. If he'd gone to university before, some time ago. And he might have a better job now. So the condition is in the past. That's why we have the third conditional type here. But the result is in present. And it is unreal. We are imagining things. That's why here we have the second type. And the opposite situation. If he weren't so lazy, he would have been promoted long before. Here, the first part of the sentence is connected with some general quality of this person. So it is more or less connected with present. The person is lazy. He is lazy. And the second part of the sentence is connected with the past. So he would have been promoted before, a year ago, 5 years ago. If he weren't so lazy now, or in general, always, he would have been promoted long before. Okay, I will devote a separate class to mixed conditionals because they are a little bit confusing. So we'll focus on them a little bit later. But that's it for today. I hope that today you learned more about conditional sentences and now you have a better understanding. And if you have any questions, as usual, feel free to write to me, write a comment. And do not forget to like this video if you actually liked it. Press the button, like it, share it, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to continue studying English with me. And I hope to see you soon. Happy English and Russian practice. Bye-bye.